Hi, this is Seda and it's all about my knitting journey. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm a knitter based in Turkey and this is my podcast episode where I talk all things knitting, my finished objects, my current projects and some acquisitions that I make, and I sometimes share about my sewing too at the end of the video. Let's start with the first finished object, which is the sweater that I'm wearing. It is Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. This is a color yoke sweater, worked top down, starting from the rib of the neckband, and then the color yoke is worked, and sometimes you work 3 colors, so it's a 3-color stranded color work. The original pattern has some bubbles here and there, but I skipped them, and I see that a lot of people do that because the color design and the position of the pattern is really impressive on its own. So I used Rowan tweed yarns for my project. The base color is called Stone. It has some weird greenish undertone in it, which I don't like so much, but I love my sweater, so it's okay. I used some color changing yarns for the blue and for the pinkish reddish ones. So this one and this one is from the same ball, and as you can see, here is the leaf pattern. This is the correct one, but I made a mistake here at the very first leaf color texture here. It seems I skipped a round right here after the stem of the leaf. This is the true one, the correct one. So you use a couple of needle sizes starting from the rib needle size, which is 2.75 millimeter needles, and 2.75 millimeter needles equals US 2. I usually tend to forget the terms in US measurements of needle sizes, so this chart from Stephen and Penelope, this is very handy for me. So the ribs are knitted in 2.75 millimeter needles US 2. The color yoke section is knitted in 3.5, I guess it's US 4. And then after the color yoke section, the body section, in the body section there is no more increases. You just go up in needle sizes, starting from 3.25, I guess, to 3.5 and then 3.75 millimeter needles, 3.75 US 5. That's kind of interesting because I usually like to work drop shoulder construction, and for the drop shoulder construction you just start from the back and increase up until the body size including the ease, and then you pick up for the fronts and then you join everything. But with the color yoke or yoke sweaters, you just start increasing right after the short rows, after the ribbing, neck ribbing, and then after the color yoke section, there's no more short rows. So there's just a little bit short rows right after the ribbing, and after the color work, you don't increase anymore. You just change needle size. You just go up in needle sizes. For the sleeves, I used 3.5 millimeter needles, and for the ribbing, as I don't have 3 millimeter needles in my shorty set, I used 2.75 millimeter needles, and I worked the sleeve cuffs in magic loop, and it has a split hem, so the back is a little bit longer than the front. Here is the complete look, if you can see it, and here is the back of the work. all in all, I'm very happy about the result. I think I'll be wearing this a lot. At first I was kind of nervous about the yoke section. I thought it would be kind of tighter. I think I would prefer it just a little touch looser, but it's not as bad as I feared. So that's a good color yoke construction. For the first time in my life, I knitted a Sophie Scarf, Sophie Scarf, because I knitted a scrunchy kind of hair tie before, and I knitted a tie-like scarf to go with my Gertrude vest, which is an all-over sticked stranded color work, a Fair Isle design, which I love and I'm very proud of. But this one is the real scarf, and that is the first time I've knitted a Sophie scarf. Here, I've always wanted to make one of these because I think they look really lovely. The Sophie scarf comes in 2 sizes. This is the size 2. This is the larger size, which you can just wrap around your neck twice. I think the small one just wraps around once. I knitted this using Gazal exclusive. This is 50% silk, 40% merino, and 10% kid mohair. So it has just a little bit of halo. Not too much, just a touch. The color is not that black, but kind of a charcoal black, or a very dark gray. This is something that I needed for a long time, and I didn't know that I needed it. Last week I was in Istanbul and I wore it every single day. We spent 3 days in Istanbul, and this was my savior. The weather was really cold. Like in Izmir it's still warm, but in Istanbul it was really cold. So this scarf just saved my days. And this yarn, I had this yarn in stash for 3 years now, I guess, and I didn't touch it, and I don't know why. I so regret it, because the yarn is, it's so nice. It's so nice to work with. It's kind of slippery. It's not a rustic yarn because it's mostly silk, but it's so soft. It's not that soft that you don't feel it when you wrap it around your neck, because the neck part is like very sensitive. You feel it, but it doesn't bother you. Like this one, Rowan Tweed, this is rustic, and this, I feel it kind of more, but this one is really soft, but still you know that it's there. It's not that skin soft, but I don't know why we don't use that yarn more often. Like instead of a mohair, for example, could be used. I think I will be using this yarn more often because I really like it. It will give just a little bit of halo to my work, but not that kind of fluff as the mohair does, and it won't be as warm as the mohair. So this would be a perfect combination when I don't want a very warm sweater, I guess. I'll be using this yarn more often. You didn't see this in the last episode because I just started to knit it pretty much impulsively. I kind of felt that I would need it in Istanbul. So I just started knitting this and completed it in 2 days. So it was a very quick knit and it came in very handy. It was very useful for me in Istanbul. Now let's go on with the whips. So this is the Roma cardigan by MochiKnits. In the last episode, I was just knitting the fronts. So I finished knitting the fronts and joined everything. Not in the round because it's not a sweater, it's a cardigan. So let me show you. This is where I am right now. So I will be knitting a couple of rounds more and then I'll go on to the hem. This is a slip stitch pattern. So on one row you knit one and slip one in the right side rows, and in the wrong side rows you just purl all the stitches. I am using House Yarns Extra Fine Merino for this. I had this in stash and I am knitting this on 5mm needles US 8. It's going so well. One issue with the drop shoulder constructions is that it goes so quickly up until you join everything. You start knitting the back, you knit a couple of rows and then you pick up stitches for the fronts and you knit the fronts, and then when you join everything then there's a lot of stitches on your needles and it takes a lot of time to knit just one round. And if it's a cabled texture it takes even longer. I remember my book club cardigan knitting just one row took about 20 minutes. So it's going kind of slower right now, not as slow as the book club cardigan of course, but compared to the start of the back yoke and the fronts, it's taken of course just more time, but I'm so excited to finish this because it's going to be a staple for my wardrobe. I don't have many cardigans in my wardrobe and I don't have a black cardigan, so I need this cardigan. I want to finish this one as soon as I can, but nowadays my priority is something else because my husband asked me to knit him a Harry Potter sweater. So I don't have a pattern for it. I am just drafting my own according to his measurements. Let me put this on and show it to you and then I'll talk about it. So I'm knitting this top down. It's a drop shoulder construction. So I started knitting the back and then picked up for the front. And then I knitted I wanted to see how the color would like because I knew I would like 2x2 as the rib sections. And I think this neck needs an elastic because it doesn't sit properly. It should be like this. I don't know how much locking would help, but I think I'll have to add an elastic around the neckband. So I will finish the body and then the sleeves, and as the final touch I will be duplicate stitching the H letter, Harry Potter's H letter, on the front with a golden yellow kind of color, which is this color. That's Rowan Tweed in the colorway 193. It's a very gorgeous golden yellow. Here, it will be like this. And my main yarn is something I am very excited about because finding good quality natural yarn was almost impossible in Turkey, just until a couple of months, because Etrofil, which is a Turkish brand, is producing very good quality yarn for Turkey. The factories in Turkey, they produce good quality natural yarns, but they just ship them away to be sold in other countries. But nowadays, they're releasing their products in Turkey as well, for Turkey as well. So this is Etrofil Shetland. It's 50 grams, 280 meters, 100% Shetland wool. And I am holding this double. This yarn is not pure dark blue. It has some black shades in it as well. I don't know if you can see it, but it does. So this is my priority because I want to finish it before the new year. And I will be casting on Betty as my Christmas sweater on the 20th of November, which is the cast-on day of the KAL knit-along held by Petiteknit or UKnit. We'll be working on the same sweater in different yarns and different shades of color and different colorways, and we'll be sharing a lot. I love KALs. I love knitting the same thing with the community, so I'm very excited about that too. So my two priorities up until the Christmas is this Harry Potter sweater and the Petiteknit KAL that I will be casting on the 20th of November. So my two priorities are the Harry Potter sweater and Betty up until the Christmas time. Sewing wise, my one finished object is the table runner here on the table right now. Here there is this Christmas themed fabric inside, and after the Christmas I will be using the plain black part, so that's kind of useful and I am loving it. I used duck fabric for the black section and cotton for the red inside fabric. And I have a project bag with another duck fabric and cotton fabric inside, which also has some inside pockets. I'm taking a sewing course. These pieces I do that with an instructor. I don't know how to sew yet, just like on my own from a pattern. I'm just learning. I'm just a new sewer, so I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this podcast, and I'll see you next time.